Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Crimson and in this video we are going to be starting our look through the BloodBorne official artworks art book. I am a massive fan of BloodBorne, to put it lightly. I have enough BloodBorne memorabilia to be slightly embarrassed about. I have tattoos of BloodBorne. I have the Prime 1 BloodBorne statue, which cost a pretty penny, but I absolutely love it. I will put a video, a picture of it on screen somewhere in the next couple of seconds. And yeah, BloodBorne is one of, if not my favorite video game of all time. I am a huge fan of From Software games, both in the Soulsborne genre and in the Armored Core genre. However, BloodBorne, to me, is the very best. Nothing before or after From Software has ever topped it, and I doubt it ever will, unless they make a sequel or unless we get a BloodBorne PC port, which I'm still holding out hope for. So, as in the Berserk video, I brought down two of my Nendroids, my Hunter Nendroid, equipped with pistol and saw spear with a little lantern behind him, and also the doll Nendroid, which when I saw her available for pre-order, I instantly bought her without a second thought. I also have the two Figma statues of both the doll and the hunter. I was going to try and include them in the video, but they were too big and they were just getting in the way. So, let's get started, shall we? One thing, however, before we do get started, as this is a From Software game, I'm not sure if there is an English version. However, this book is in Japanese, so I will be unable to read any of the passages or descriptions for any of the items, unfortunately. If you read Japanese, feel free to pause whenever you like and read them. So, let's get started. The art of blood, official artworks of BloodBorne. I love, you guys might not be able to see it, but the cover has this incredible leather finish to it, and the embossed logo in silver of BloodBorne official artworks. This is probably one of my favorite art books that I have, not just because it's BloodBorne, but just because of the quality of the material inside. Whoops, sorry about that. That's embarrassing. This is the cover without the book sleeve, but the book sleeve is so nice. So we start off with another page, BloodBorne, the official artworks, this time with the hunter symbol. As you know, if you have played BloodBorne, this is representing a hunter or a man hanging upside down. And I should have said this at the beginning, but if you have not played BloodBorne and would like to play BloodBorne, do not watch this video, because BloodBorne is a game that you need to experience blind, and I do not want to ruin a single detail of this game for you. So if you're considering playing BloodBorne, go play BloodBorne and then come back to this video. But if you've played BloodBorne, then let's dive right in. So we start off with the cover of the game. the physical edition, anyway, or the original physical edition with the hunter with his, this is the blunderbuss and the saw cleaver. I have probably bought BloodBorne about 3 times. I bought it when it came out, physical copy. Then I bought the digital version of the game, and then I rebought the digital version of the game on PS5 because for whatever reason it would not recognize that I had bought the game, and I refused to be locked out of BloodBorne. So we have some Japanese text here, which I cannot read. However, there is some English. It says, "Seek pale blood to transcend the hunt." I'm not sure if you guys are going to be able to see that based on it being very small print and red on black. So we start off with our table of contents. We won't go through these, we are just going to go ahead and flip through it. However, if you would like to skip to a certain portion of the art book, go ahead and pause here, look roughly, or take a screenshot, and then just skip to that section, and we have a nice picture of the Yharnam city skyline during the day. Picture of the hunter's dream with the mist, very ethereal. We have the massive moon, here the tree. I have to try and be as objective as I can going through this art book, because I could spend about 10 minutes on each page just talking about every little detail. So we start off with the art of the default hunter. I know it's the default set, and in most Soulsborne games, the default set is usually one of the worst or one of the weakest. However, that is not the case with BloodBorne. The starting set is probably in the top 3 sets of the entire game, and in fact, I actually have a cosplay of this hunter's outfit. If I'm feeling brave enough, I might include a picture somewhere here-ish. Maybe, maybe not, I'm not sure. And then we have the doll, who is our level up maiden. Every Souls game has a maiden, a firekeeper, the lady in black in Demon Souls, and in Bloodborne we have the doll. And the doll is easily the best level up maiden in FromSoft history. Here's a nice picture of what looks like the inside of Yosefka's clinic with some, this is where we start the game, with some of the Bat messengers. We also have Gurman, the first hunter, as we meet him in the hunter's dream. He's in his wheelchair with his cane. This is his front, this is his back, and this is him with no hat, which is interesting. I don't think I've actually ever seen this picture of Gurman without his hat on, and it just makes him look even older and even more withered and full of despair. However, his hat does go ludicrously hard. Great picture of Yharnam, the starting area. We have a man here holding a torch, Gothic architecture, and the moon. I cannot praise the architecture and level design in Bloodborne enough. I love this game to bits and beyond. So yes, here is Yosefka's clinic. This is where we start our journey here after receiving our blood transfusion and signing our contract to become a hunter. As you know, or maybe if you haven't played BloodBorne, or if you haven't played BloodBorne in a while, we are a foreigner, or we play as a foreigner who has traveled to Yharnam in search of blood administration, and we find it, and we get the transfusion at the beginning of the game, but for payment, we become a hunter. Little do we know at the time what that actually entails. Again, we have, maybe this is the player character, maybe this is someone else going through blood administration, blood transfusion, whichever term you prefer. Some more pictures inside the clinic. Multiple people who have seemingly died during the process. As you can see, the clinic itself has been ravaged and looted, and it looks like pillaged as well. We have the blood IV bag with some surgical tools. This by itself is horrific. If you can imagine a Victorian era style blood transfusion and the equipment used, that's enough to make your skin crawl. And I just increased the camera zoom a little bit so you guys can see some more stuff, or the pictures a bit more clearly. So here is the werewolf. This is the first enemy we encounter in the game. Normally this is an enemy that is meant to kill you. He is very vicious, very aggressive, and does not let up. And when we fight him, we are unarmed. However, it is possible, and actually very simple, to defeat him. All you have to do is sneak up behind him by walking very slowly, do a charged heavy attack, and just keep doing that and getting the visceral attacks. This is the same monster from different views. This is from the side, this is from the front, and this is from behind. Here is our player character in the attire that we start with. We have very simple clothing, yet still very part of the times, and we have a nice hood. Again, there really isn't a bad looking armor set in BloodBorne. Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Demon Souls have some ugly looking armor, but BloodBorne, everything is beautiful. Even if it's not your particular cup of tea, you have to admit that the armor, or not the armor, the outfits are incredible. This looks like Yharnam streets. I need to learn to read Japanese. I consume too much Japanese media to not speak the language. This is again some of the Yharnam streets. We see that it's completely void of life. Everyone's locked inside. Everyone has their warding incense lamps off to try and stay away from the hunt. We have the crow enemy, which we encounter very early, and the dogs, which, if you've played From Software games, you know what dogs are like. And in BloodBorne, I don't know if it's just me, I find them more vicious. Apologies, I just had to take a little drink of water. This is one of the first sights that we see when exploring the Yharnam streets for the first time is a pyre with a beast crucified and lit on fire by the townsfolk. Now, you might think, well, these townsfolk are doing a good job of killing the beasts. However, these townsfolk are half beasts or turning into beasts themselves. This is a horse and carriage. Looks very similar to the carriage that takes us to Canehurst Castle, except these look like different horses. Here is the executioner enemy. We find him to the left of where we open the first gate. He is a very challenging enemy at the beginning of the game based on his attacks, and he is a very tanky enemy. We have some more townsfolk. As you can see, they are very bestial in their appearance. Here we have one of the giants. They are called the Huntsman's Minions. These guys rush you with massive bricks or hammers and are very, very tanky. However, these guys serve the purpose of teaching you how to parry with your pistol. They attack very slowly, and if you get a visceral win, that usually finishes them off. And we also have another townsfolk. This guy isn't as far gone as his comrades here and here, but still, I don't think they're aware that they are beasts. I think they still think that they are fully human. Again, we have the carriage. This isn't a carriage that we ride. This is a carriage that we just find throughout Yharnam. Sometimes they're still, sometimes they're shaking as if there's some kind of beast contained inside. And sometimes they jump scare you, especially in Yaragul. And here is a hunter or a man for size comparison. We also have a street lamp, another kind of street lamp. These aren't the normal BloodBorne lamps which serve as this game's bonfire equivalent. This is the bridge where we fight the cleric beast for the first time. He is an optional boss fight. However, he is the first boss fight that you'll probably come across. The first official or the first real mandatory boss fight is Father Gascoigne. But we'll get to him. Actually, we'll get to him now. This is the arena where we fight Father Gascoigne. I really like Gascoigne as a character just based on his lore. It's a very tragic story, especially with him, his wife, and his daughters. You can get the music box, which calms him. When we meet Father Gascoigne, he's transforming into a beast and is losing his sanity after killing his wife. And if you play the music box that his daughter gives you if you do her quest line, it stuns him because it reminds him of who he was, and for a brief moment brings him back to his sanity, which is just all the more sad. Okay, here we have multiple different types of hunters. The characters on the left of the page aren't named characters, they are just hunters, both in-game and in concept art. So we have this guy here who looks very menacing, especially with his gloves and lack of a hat. This hunter, which looks more traditional or orthodox in his attire. This hunter, she looks like a female hunter with her pistol, and it looks like a spiked mace on the end of a whip. That, combined with her attire and her hat, makes her look very dangerous and someone you would not want to come across in the streets of Yharnam at night. If this isn't a woman hunter, I apologize. She looks like a woman in this picture. This hunter here is, it looks like this is concept art of the same hunter, and I don't believe this man appears in the game. However, we see all the different variations of both his hats, you know, the more traditional clothing, the more outlandish clothing. This guy has a bunch of strings and straps coming off his arm. All of them look really, really good. One, two, three. Here is one of my favorite characters in the game, Eileen the Crow, the hunter of hunters, or as she says, the hunter of hunters. Now, there's a quote here, and it's probably too small for you guys to make out, but I will read it to you. It says, "Few hunters can resist the intoxication of the hunt. Look at you, just the same as all the rest. The hunters must die. The nightmare must end. Only I can stop this madness." So Eileen, apart from being a hunter of beasts, she is a hunter of hunters who have gone blood drunk, which is to say they have gone mad with bloodlust and have consumed enough blood that they are starting to transform into beasts themselves. Very cool character, and she has an excellent quest. Let us continue. Here is one of the first areas, or later areas, in the first main area, still in Yharnam streets. This is the area where we first meet Eileen. She is somewhere either up here or up here through some crates that you have to roll through. Down here is a big sewer with some very menacing enemies. Here we have some of the enemies that we find in this location. We have the rotted corpse, which drag themselves along the sewers. They look very easy to kill, but do not be fooled. They are very, very dangerous. We have the labyrinth rat. These creatures can range from fairly big to absolutely massive. And speaking of absolutely massive, we have the man-eater boar, which we find at the end of a sewer tunnel. And if you have done the quest for Gascoigne's daughter, you are all too familiar with this beast right here, and beast is the correct word. If you know, you know, but I won't say more. This is a great picture overlooking the bridge where we make our way to the Father Gascoigne boss fight. There is some text here. It says, "When the hunt began, the healing church left us, blocking the great bridge to Cathedral Ward, as old Yharnam burned to the ground that moonlit night. foreshadowing and giving a bit of a hint as to the church's true intentions. Sorry, I didn't know that was in the shot. And yeah, so this not only is the bridge that brings us to the Father Gascoigne fight, but it is also the bridge that connects Yarnham Street to Cathedral Ward, which is essentially, it's not quite the hub, but it's the area where essentially every other area is connected to. So it's not quite a Firelink shrine, but anywhere in the game you can get through or get to by starting in Cathedral Ward. This is the Cleric Beast, which I mentioned earlier, the first boss, despite being optional. His screams, I say his, I don't know what gender this person was, and yes, this used to be a person. As you can probably guess by the name Cleric Beast, this individual was a member of the Healing Church, and if you've played BloodBorne, you know that members of the church transformed into the most horrific beasts, which is why this cleric transformed into this, while most of the townsfolk just transformed into werewolves or lycans or very hairy individuals. Doesn't really matter. If they look like a beast and walk like a beast, they're probably a beast. Starting to sound like a Black Church hunter myself. Here is our first look at one of the lanterns, this game's bonfire equivalent. There's a quote here. It says, "Beasts all over the shop. You'll be one of them sooner or later." This is Father Gascoigne, the first main boss, which I have talked about already. Really, really cool character. I'm torn between describing everything in detail relating to these characters and also trying to save something for, or trying not to spoil everything. So I hate asking this kind of thing. However, if you could leave a comment on this video, this will be part 1, because I think this is going to be a 2-part series, letting me know if you want me to try and hold back on major spoilers or go full in detail, because I can do either, and I can talk about this man for about 20 minutes. I'm not going to, but I can. This is Old Hunter Henrique. This is Gascoigne's old hunting partner before Gascoigne retired. Henrique is famous as both a very deadly hunter and also by his yellow attire, his yellow hat with his yellow feathers. One of the very cool and probably one of the most colorful sets in the game, even if it is a very muted yellow. This is our hunter player character. I'm just gonna refer to the hunter in the standard garb as our player character hunter, just so you kind of know or feel the journey that we go through in BloodBorne. This is him entering Cathedral Ward after defeating Father Gascoigne. This is the Church of Odin, which is this game's safe hub area. I know I said Cathedral Ward is the hub in terms of you can get to every location from it. However, this place is this game's Firelink Shrine. This is where you send NPCs. This is the safe zone. This is the first resident of the, sorry, I said Church of Odin, it's the Chapel of Odin. The dweller who looks like a monster, looks like an absolute, if you've played any From Software games, everyone who saw this person, or this man, the first time around, instantly thought, this guy is gonna stab me in the back the first chance he gets, when actually he is one of the kindest individuals in Yharnam that's still alive anyway. Here we have an incense burner, a censer, I believe it's called, and a coffin with all the chains tied up. Fun fact, they actually used to do this in Victorian times, not to this extent, but they would chain up coffins and put cages over the graves so that werewolves and vampires didn't rise up. Just, again, really good attention to detail and research for the game. This is outside of the Chapel of Odin to the left. This is the fountain that we encounter. This is one of the gates that we encounter that we unlock later. We have the, what's it called? Tombstone. It's not a tombstone, but it's like a sarcophagus that we pull a lever to move to gain access to an underground path. Here we have one of the church giants. These guys are massive people. Taking them on head on in the early game is, well, let's just say if you do that, you have a death wish, and you better spend your souls before you try and take one of these guys on. Here is some pictures and art of the old workshop we see. This one has some sunlight gleaming in. So does this one up here. This is the wheelchair mounted with a machine gun. If you have played BloodBorne, you were probably shocked the first time you encountered one of those enemies, thinking, oh, this man's in a wheelchair, I can get around him. And then he proceeds to fill you with 50 shots of bullets and kills you. So, that's always fun. Now, here is some of the stuff that I like the most, the character designs. So, up here on the top left, let me see if I can get rid of the glare, we have the Tomb Prospector. This is a hunter who explores the Thumerian labyrinths, and his armor set looks very dusty and worn, as if, you know, he's spent months, if not years, underground, exploring long-forgotten tombs. This person is the Black Church Hunter. Now, the Black Church Hunters, there's two types of church hunters. There's Black Church Hunters and White Church Hunters. The Black Church Hunters, first off, they're called Black Church Hunters because their attire is all black. Their role by the church was to seek out any signs of the beastly scourge, even if no symptoms are showing, and were ordered to kill without mercy and without hesitation. So anyone that these church hunters suspected of being a beast for any reason, maybe they actually were a beast, maybe they were just acting aggressive, Maybe the church hunter just didn't like the guy. Doesn't matter. This church hunter can kill with impunity, and it is because of these guys that the citizens of Yharnam hate hunters, because they are terrified of them due to the actions of these people. This is a hunter in the city attire, very sophisticated looking here with his top hat. And here is one of the main NPCs in the game, Alfred, Hunter of Vile Bloods. We will get to what a Vile Blood is later on. However, Alfred is a member of a group called the Executioners. They serve as one of 3 factions in the game. I believe there's only 3 factions. That might be 4, I can't remember. It's very late right now when I'm recording. I don't know if you can tell. But he is very formidable. He comes off as a very polite, very jovial young man when we first speak to him. But as you pursue his quest, you find that that is not the case whatsoever. My favorite part of Alfred's armor and equipment are both his helmet, which reminds me a lot of Pyramid Head from Silent Hill. I have never played Silent Hill, by the way. And his weapon of choice, which is a massive wheel. Essentially, imagine a breaking wheel that Alfred just beats you to death with. That's essentially what it is. We'll get more into the factions later on and explain what the Vile Bloods are, what the Executioners are, and all that fun stuff. Trying not to go beyond the scope of what we are discussing. So here we have a picture of the Great Cathedral in all its Gothic majesty. Again, the art style is tremendous. This game, if you've ever heard that argument about how graphics versus art style, BloodBorne definitely has the art style. Here we have the wheelchair hunter. I believe that's what that says. I actually cannot even see that. This is the enemy I was talking about earlier. The wheelchair-bound individual with a Gatling gun who lights you up. Now here, this is the interesting stuff. So this man here is one of the Black Church Hunters, which we already discussed. This person is a White Church Hunter. So whereas the Black Church Hunters essentially had a license to kill from the Healing Church and killed without prejudice or mercy or hesitation, the White Church Hunters acted as doctors. These were the ones that actually tried to help people and treat people who were suffering with the scourge of the beasts. Not to say they were saints. They would absolutely kill you in a moment with zero hesitation. But whereas the Black Church Hunters, if they saw a symptom of the beastly scourge, they would just kill you. The White Church Hunters would try and help, or if not help, at least study and gather data and gather research. So these guys are more traditional doctors, whereas these guys are just murderers, sanctioned by the church. This is inside the cathedral where we fight Vicar Amelia. She is one of my favorite bosses in the game. And I'm gonna keep saying that because most of the bosses, except for one or two, are my favorite. I love them all. This is Vicar Amelia here post transformation. As I said earlier with the cleric beasts, the members of the healing church transformed into the worst kinds of beasts, and Amelia, being a vicar, transformed into a absolute monstrous beast. For those of you who don't know, a vicar is a very high rank in the church, both in BloodBorne and in real life. So she transforms into this, how do I put it? It's like a wolf and a deer combined. She has the head of a wolf, with sprouting antlers and everything, and when we first meet her in the cutscene, she's still a woman in human form. When we meet her, she's kneeling on the ground praying, holding her amulet. And as you can see here, actually you might not be able to see just with the glare, but even post-transformation, she is still clutching her amulet. So she is a firm believer in the healing church. So, sorry, I turned the page. I had to take a drink of water. This is Upper Cathedral Ward. This is a very late game area, but it kind of connects. It's one of those From Software things where it's an area where you find the door early on, but don't get access to it until much later. So this is the entrance of the Upper Cathedral Ward. This is a celestial child, and this is one of the experiments done by the church and the choir in particular. Now you might be wondering, Crimson, I thought this game was about werewolves and stuff. What's this Lovecraftian looking being doing in my werewolf game? Well, stay tuned because we are going to find out. Speaking of the choir, this is them here. This is their attire, their hat, the bottom part of their attire. They have these very nice, loosely fitting white robes with the black hat pointed down. The choir is a very secretive organization in the church. They essentially do all the most top secret stuff. And yes, it is funny that they decided to name the most elite, most dangerous group of the healing church the choir, because in our world, the choir at a church means you'll get a good song, not witness man-made horrors beyond our comprehension. This is further in. We see more work. We see more interiors. We have our hunter here. It's kind of hard to see with the black background, but he has his pointy hat. This is our brain sucker. I believe we first encounter one of these either later on in Cathedral Ward or when we first reach an area called Bergenworth. Again, this is our second look at something that does not look like a beast, but looks like an alien or something out of a Lovecraft book. Again, BloodBorne is full of secrets, and we will explore them all as we continue through this book. Also, I'm trying not to be dramatic. I know it sounds like I am. I just really like talking about BloodBorne, and getting to kind of be a little bit cryptic when talking about it. I just find it fun. This is one of the areas we find in Upper Cathedral Ward. We have all these flowers here. This is very similar to the arena where we fight an enemy called the Living Failures. And this is the Living Failures. These are people that were experimented on to try and communicate with the Great Ones, which are essentially Lovecraftian gods. Think Cthulhu, think Nyarlathotep, think Shub-Niggurath. Those kind of entities that don't have a tangible form and exist beyond our comprehension. This is the most guarded secret of the church, protected by the choir at all costs, but our hunter manages to fight his way through. This is the Augur of Abritus. Now, who's Abritus? Abritus is a left behind Great One. Now, I just said that the Great Ones exist on a different plane of existence than you and I do, or our hunter does. However, they didn't always. They did possess corporeal forms on Earth. However, they transcended, they abandoned their physical form, and transcended into this new plane of existence. All except Abritus. For whatever reason, she was left behind, so she is now the last Great One. That has a physical body. And it's very sad that all of her kin, all of her friends, all of her, family are gone and she's left behind. When we enter her cave, she's grieving over the body of one of her compatriots who has transcended. And she got left behind. Why? We don't know, but she did. So if you're wondering, hey, where's this church getting all this blood from? It's from Abritus. They are bloodletting her. And I don't think it's consensual. This is a brilliant spread of Abritus. Very Cthulhu-like, we have the wings of this. Her left wing looks more withered, where her right wing is much more massive. She has, I don't even know how to describe this. This is genuinely straight out of a Lovecraft novel. I'm not even going to try and describe this. You guys can have a look and decide for yourself what you think she looks like. One thing about the Great Ones is, first off, they are asymmetrical beings. So that's why, one wing is shriveled, whereas one wing is huge. That's why she has some tentacles on her right side, some tentacles on the left side. And also, the Great Ones each are unique beings. They, while all being the same species, we think they have nothing physically in common with each other, and all have very different anatomy. And because of that, they are unable to breed with each other. So you might be asking, how do they reproduce then? We will find out. However, I did not realize when I started recording, but my phone is about to die. So that is going to wrap up part 1 of the Art of BloodBorne. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed making it. Let me see if I can struggle to get this in. There we go. Next time we are going to cover a lot more. It is my fault for not having a full charger going in. I thought I had a full battery, but turns out I didn't. If anything you heard or saw in this book makes you interested in BloodBorne, please do yourself a favor and pick it up. It is a phenomenal game, and I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you are watching or listening to this video as you are laying down, relaxing, going to sleep, this is the end of the video, so I would turn the video off now, so the ads do not wake you up. And as always, thank you so much for watching and for listening. Your viewership means the absolute world to me, and the fact that I'm even able to spend hours talking about games and BloodBorne and manga, and even have so much as 1 view and 1 subscriber, never mind the 74 subscribers at the time of recording this, is incredible. I never thought I would get even 10 subscribers, never mind 74. So thank you so much, and I will see you guys in part 2. And don't worry, I know the Berserk videos had a long wait between them. This one won't. Once my phone is fully charged, I will be recording the next part in the next couple hours or so. Anyway, thank you again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.